we are live. I'm going to give it a few minutes to let some others get in. Let's... Hey Beverly, welcome to Makers and Shakers. I'm glad you joined us today. I'm giving it a few minutes to give some time for some others to pop on, plus I'm a couple of minutes early. Hi Chula. And I have Facebook viewer, good evening. Remember, if you're on Facebook, you'll have to tell me who it is because I don't have my iPad in here and I'm using my phone for my overhead cam, so I can't see who that is. If you're on YouTube, I can see you. It tells me your name. Who was here last week? And you guys leave me a comment down below or in chat here and tell me where you're from. It's always fun to see where everybody is from. I am now in Daytona. Hey, Louise. And I'm just going to check and make sure that that went through on Facebook. There we go. Hey, Sue. Hey, Elaine. Okay. All right, so we're going to get started. Hi, DMS Crafty. Hey, Carla. St. Louis. Monroe, Georgia. Yay! All right, so we're going to get started here. Last week we covered a good bit in Designspace and we made touch on a couple of recaps of that. I am going to cut some vinyl tonight and show you guys how to weed it and how to apply it, because I know a lot of people, hey Karen, say that they don't like this transfer tape or they don't like that transfer tape, but guys, usually it comes down to technique and not your actual product. Sometimes product is pretty good and sometimes it can be bad. Hey Dolores, hey Wendy, hey Susan. So I want to show you guys, and it doesn't matter what brand you're using. I will be using the Cricut brand. It doesn't matter what you're using. The technique is not going to change. The technique will be the same. But we're going to cover some things in Designspace before we get started on cutting and weeding our vinyl. So first I just want to pop over and show you guys the calendar and say thank you to all my supporters. If you're a Patreon or Ko-fi supporter or you're a YouTube supporter, thank you very much. It helps support the channel and the groups, and I greatly appreciate that. If you're not a supporter, please consider it. You will get access to all of my Designspace files. Now, I do use Access Images, so you probably should have an Access subscription. However, if you don't, a lot of my designs are used making basic shapes, and then the stuff I put in for pretty stuff is Access, and you can swap that out if you want. So don't feel like if you're not an Access subscriber that you can't benefit from it, because you can. Let's see. You have no sound, Susan. Maybe somebody can let Susan know to refresh the window. Maybe that will help her. We do have sound, I take it. Nobody else has said anything. And I'm showing that I have sound. Okay, so thank you, Beverly. Here is the calendar. I plan on doing week number 3 of our Designspace tutorials next Thursday at 7 p.m. Tomorrow night, if you are a Patreon or Ko-fi supporter and you're on the Zoomer tier, we do have a Zoom tier, and we're going to do some rolled flowers, working with a little bit of felt, some wood. We're going to be working with either iron-on or vinyl as well. So with the Zoomers, guys, you get to not just sit here and chat like you are now, but you can share your screen. You can actually mic up and speak just like I'm speaking to you now, and you won't have to do all that typing. We have a lot of fun, and we cut up with each other, and we bounce ideas off of each other, and it's a great way to learn. Okay, so if you are considering that, you'll get a lot of benefit out of those. Let's pop over to Designspace, and you guys can follow along with me if you have yours open or have a second device that you're watching on YouTube or through Facebook. We are streaming simultaneously, so you can play along on your computer if you like. So let's go. When you open up your Designspace, of course, you're going to make sure that you've got your machine selected that you're going to be using for the day. You're going to select that up here. So you'll select your correct machine. And I am going to be cutting with my Maker 3, I believe, tonight. And then you're going to come down here, and my projects are going to look different than your projects because my ribbon has a lot more on it, especially if you're just starting out. If you're seasoned and you've done a lot of stuff, then yours is going to be full like mine is. And then you have your ribbons down here. I did not touch on this week, but these are your Make It Now projects. And they've cordoned off these ribbons here. Like if you wanted to do something in your mug press, they have the Cricut mug press ribbon here. There's some top playlist videos for learning Designspace right here, guys, from Cricut, so you can learn basic techniques and things. But again, I'm teaching those to you as well. And then you've got an organization. These are going to change from time to time, and different stuff's going to pop up for what's popular. You have your creative cards, and then from the community. And I wanted to touch on this just a little bit because we went over it last week about saving your file and how you save it. Remember, if you save yours as only me, then nobody can see it but you. If you've uploaded anything into it, it doesn't matter how you save it, you will not be able to share it. You will be able to share that link, but nobody will be able to open it. They'll get the splash screen of your project, but they won't be able to customize or make it, okay, if anything is uploaded. And if you put available for everyone down at the bottom of that screen, and we'll cover it here in just a minute, then it's going to come into the Cricut community here, okay? And so you can view all and search in this community. These are people just like you and I. Whenever we share with everyone, this is where it ends up. And you can go in there and you can search projects. I'll just search my name. We'll see what comes up. There's going to be a lot because everybody, like this one is mine. You can see right here. Here's mine right here. This one is mine. There are a few of them in there. This one. So there are tons of things in there, and yours are going to end up in there, and you can search for yours too. But you will in order to do that, you need to create your profile and fill out your profile right here. So make sure you're filling out your profile, okay? And then all of the projects that you share with everyone are going to be in this section. And for those of you who do not know how to share, you're going to select a link. Let's see. We'll do the Valentine's box. Here's the Valentine's box that I shared a couple of weeks ago. And you'll copy that project link right there, and it says copy to clipboard. And if you look over into the chat, if you're on YouTube, you will see that project link pop into there. And then you would click on those links, and that will open up the project for whoever you're sharing it with. Again, nothing uploaded can be in the file, okay? And that includes fonts. Awesome. Welcome back, Susan. Welcome back. So make sure that you fill out that profile and that you search, because there are tons of fun projects in the community as well as the Make It Nows. So make sure you're not missing out on those. And we're going to go back to the home screen, and I'm going to go to my projects, and we're going to do a new project. So last week we touched on a little bit of slicing and things like that, and we covered our hamburger menu down through here, and I told you guys that we would come back and revisit manage custom materials. So that's what we're going to focus on right now. Let's say that you have, I don't know, some plastic milk jug or something like that that you just can't find a setting for, or none of the Cricut settings for plastics are working for you. Hi, Diane. If those are not working for you, then you can make your own. And I encourage, please don't change the settings that are in here. Don't change your material settings. And I'm going to select my Maker 3. I'm not on Bluetooth. Don't change the settings. You can go in here and you can edit it, but unless they've corrected it, anytime that there's an update, it's going to revert back to the defaults if you change these. So you're really not getting that custom setting by editing these. Also, if your blade is dull, things like that, editing these are going to make these be off with a new blade. So you have to take into consideration those factors as well. Okay? So the first thing you want to do is, instead, you want to scroll all the way down to the bottom, okay, of your list. And right here you'll see add a new material. And I'm just going to put in test cut here, just so I know and I can get rid of it later. And then I'm just going to click save. Now that's not really going to do anything except bring it up here and put it in alphabetical order for us. And this is where the magic happens. This is where you're going to tell it what pressure you want. If let's just say that this was transfer foil and it's not cutting through, then of course this one's set at 100. You'll want to look at what materials did not work for you, and you'll want to bump it up, let's say 4 or 5 points at a time, and do a test cut and see if it's going to work for you. So if the setting of 100 wasn't working on the transfer foil, I would be popping this up to 105 and doing a test cut. And if it cut perfectly, I know I'm good. If it still didn't cut through, then I'm going to bump it up to maybe 110 and do a test cut. And if it cuts through its backing, which it shouldn't, we don't want to cut through our backing unless that is what you're trying to achieve, then you would want to bump it down maybe to 107. So you're just going to have to play with it until, when you're testing new materials, until you find that sweet spot for the setting, okay? And if you've got one that you were doing, say you were working on tooling leather and 287 wasn't working, and you're going to go up to 292, let's say. So you're right there. but you can see that this is cutting 3 times. We're going to have to take and put that multiple cut on there. Or you may want to just use the same setting at 287 and give it a 4th pass. So that is something else that you'll want to take into account when you're doing custom materials. Again, test cut, test cut, test cut. I suggest something like a star and then maybe a circle. Want something that has some points to it where your blade pivots, and something where your blade stays in one direction the whole time, like a circle, because they do make different cuts. Okay, so make sure that you're setting that, and then you need to tell it what type blade you want. So a lot of the ones that I do are felt, and sometimes I just want to do my felt here because sometimes Cricut is out of the felt. It's out and I have to buy some from Michaels, and I'll come in here and I'll do a felt setting Michaels, and that way I know I have it in there and I want to use my rotary blade. And you notice that if you go rotary blade, it's going to change into the thousands. There's a difference there, so make sure that when you're checking those materials that you check the type blade that you're using. Okay, because if I go to my deep point, it's going to go back to its default. So make sure that you're going in there and you're setting all of that. And if you want it to cut twice, especially like with glitter iron-on, sometimes you want that extra cut. You can go in there and do it, but you'll need to adjust it so it doesn't cut through your carrier. So do those test cuts. Don't do your whole project, say it cut through and ruined my whole project. Test cut, test cut, test cut. We can't say that enough. Okay? And then once you have it set like you want, you're just going to simply click save. So now when I go, and I'm going to close out of this right here, and then when I go in, let's get a shape, and I place my shape in there, I hit make it. Now it's going to ask me, because I'm on a Maker 3, if you're on a regular Maker or you're on an Explore machine, you won't see this screen. And I'm just going to say on a mat for any material. And it's 12 by 12, and I'm just going to hit continue. And then I'm going to browse all materials right here at the top right. And I'm going to look for test, and there is my test cut, and I can make that a favorite if I want by clicking. I already have 12 in there, but if you don't have 12 in there, you can click that star and save that to one of your favorites. Okay, and that's what these are, all of these. And I try to pick something that's different from the populars, that way I get to save 24 on this screen and I don't have to browse all material up here at this top right. Does anybody have any questions about managing your custom materials? I know that's kind of a lot to take in for some of you that are new, but you can always refer back to it. You can ask us in the group, or if you're still not clear, we can go over anything part of it that you still need clarification on. Guys, don't be scared to ask questions. You can ask any questions that you want. Ask them, put them in caps. Me or one of the moderators will see it and we will get to it. So let's go back. Let me cancel that. Yes, I'm going to cancel and cancel. And I'm just going to get rid of that. So we covered a few things last week. Again, we covered all of this, so you guys can refer back to last week's video if you want to go into detail on that hamburger menu. That was the only one that we really skipped. Here you have templates on this toolbar. You have your new, of course, and that's going to bring you to a new project. And then you have your templates. Templates will help you with sizing your vinyl, but you'll have to pick something that is close to what you have. Now I have a candle holder here that I'm going to be putting something on tonight, and this might help a little bit. We'll see. You notice the orange bar. Templates are for reference only and will not be saved with your project. okay, that will not be saved with your project. So now I've got that candle template right here. You can see that in there. But my candle holder is right about 2.5 inches wide, I'm going to say. And I don't think that one's customizable. Of course, I picked one that wasn't. Okay, let's go back and pick something else. Let's do glass. I'm going to search up here. Let's go with this, hurricane glass. Okay. It was up there, and that's it. They've changed a little bit. Let me try that again. You can see right here, you have your types. You can do straight, curved, or rounded, and mine is straight. So I'm going to leave it there. And the size, you can select the size. Slim, standard, or wide. And you're going to have this with your shirts and things like that too. But I'm going to say custom. And now I have a sizing tool. So I'm just going to say that this is 3 inches wide. Okay. So now I have a template in there where I can go and I can get my images. And I can go and I can work with those. Okay. Oh, here it is. I forgot. I rarely use templates, so I always forget about it. Right here, if you need to adjust the size on the bottom right, you can click on it and then your sizing will come back. Is everybody with me there? On the bottom right. Okay, down here. That's where you're going to change your sizing. So it doesn't matter if you've got shirts, whatever template that you're using, it's not going to stay with the project, and you can adjust the sizing over here on the bottom right. Then you're going to go and you're going to select your images, or you're going to type in your text, whatever, and you're going to size it to fit into that template so that you know that you have your correct sizing for your item. I always, even though you can use these, I always check mine with a ruler as well. Let's go in and say, let's see what we got on here. Something that's quick. Oh, that's cute. I say bad words. We'll go with this one. How about that? It's kind of thin, but I'm going to try it. It might be an absolute fail, but we're going to try it because I'm making it so small. So we're just going to size it down. I'm not going to unlock it because when you unlock, guys, notice that this size up here, this is when things can get skewed. Now, if you want to skew it and you want it that way, you can. But leaving it locked will avoid that. Okay? See how it gets out of shape? That's what unlocking does. So I'm just going to size that down, and that looks good to me. It's let me just make it 2.75 here in my sizing. That works for me. So now that is ready to cut. Okay? And we have our template. So that's how templates work. You're just going to use them and you're just going to size it like that. Okay? And I'm going to come back and revisit this. I'm going to save it. Designspace class, and click save. So now my project is ready. I'm going to go to a new project. Actually, I'm going to go to my projects. Just so you guys can see what happens with the templates. It's a little slow. There we go. And here it is. I'm going to open it up. And this is what I meant by if you share a project, you can't, and you've got something uploaded, you can't share it. This customize and make it won't be here. It will say this project cannot be made or customized. Okay, so I'm just going to click on make it, and that's going to take me right over to the project screens. Okay, and I'll just say on a mat I'm going to cancel. We'll customize. So you can go to the mat, or you can come in and you can customize. But you see that my template is gone. It's not there. It will not save those templates. So if you're wanting to know exactly what your sizing was for, you can always go in and leave text and say this was the candle holder 3-inch. Okay, and then I like to weld that so it doesn't bog down. And then I've got that, and I can hide that before I cut or save or anything. And that way I know I have a reference point if I come back to this later and can't remember what I sized that for because the template didn't save. I know by just clicking on this. So if you have several sizes that you use, that can help you out. Okay, you can also put your note here rather than doing it there. You can edit your project details and put in here 3-inch candle holder. And then you can also put template size. And when you save that, whenever you look, you can look right here in the description and it's going to show you. It's also going to show you what images you used, where they were. You can click on that and it'll take you right over to it. So if you want to look at the whole cartridge, you can do that as well by clicking on view image sets and see everything in there. So this is everything that's on that cartridge or image set. It used to be called cartridges. I still have a hard time remembering to say image sets, but that is everything on that image set. Okay, so lots of reference points for you on your project. Is everybody still with me? You guys are so quiet tonight. So that covers your looking at your project, customizing, make it now, what you used, how to add in notes, or you can also put instructions in there, whatever you need. If you want to save it for offline, you can turn that on right here if you know you're going to be working offline with it. And also in your layers panel, you can come down here and you can get that image info here as well and click on it as well here. And this is your image set if you want to go that route. So you have several ways to get to it. Okay. Even a welded font, it's grayed out, but it will tell you right here the font was Cricut Sans. So even though that's grayed out, you can still tell what font you used, whether you welded it or not. Oh, thank you, Susan. So very easy to find out anything you need to find out about your project. Okay, and using your templates. Then this button here is just what it is, projects. It's going to take you over to the Designspace projects, all categories. The lanterns are new. Aren't they gorgeous? I love these. These are new, guys. So I hope some of you start cutting some of these and putting them in Designspace or in the group so that we can take a look at them. I love these. But anyway, these are just all of the projects, and you can use your filter for categories. That's all categories. You can do your projects saved. You can go to the Cricut community where everybody, like you and I, save our projects. Anything that's Cricut Access or cards, whatever you want to search for, it's all in here. You're using an Air too, so yours might look a little different, Carla. If anybody is using an Air machine, aren't they, Louise? I love it. If anybody is using an Air machine, set your dial on custom. Just set your dial on custom, and you won't have that one screen that I have with the Maker 3. But if you set your dial on custom, all of your stuff should be the same from there. Okay? You'll pick your materials just like I'm picking mine when we go to make it. Hey, Jen. So make sure that you're checking out some of these new things. I love this felt flower too. Aren't they pretty? This is one of my favorites, this dahlia. I'm in love. So check all of those out, guys. Check all those categories out. You never know what you're going to find, and new stuff is added all the time. So that's where your templates, your projects, and then you have images so that you can search for just images, and that's where we got our heart. You saw that. When you click on that, that's going to allow you to search there. You can change your grid up here to having 6 across or 5 across, however you want to do that. And of course you know how to search. And then here you have your text. Well, on your search, let me back up. Make sure that you're checking these filters. Your operation type, if you're looking for something that's a draw only, you can select that draw only, but don't forget, even though it's a cut image, guys, you can change that to draw. When you select, it puts a box around it, as you can see here, and it puts it down here in the bottom. So if you want to search for other things and then come back, you can keep adding in here. And then you can add those to canvas. You also have your layers, single or multi-layer. You have your project types, 3D, cards, phrases, mugs, all of that are in there. What materials that some of these projects and images use, you can select it by that. Of course, if you need another language, that's there for you as well. Ownership, purchased and uploaded. Those are ones that are going to help you. Hey, from South Carolina. I don't know who that is, but hey. Hey, Debbie. And if anything that you've downloaded for offline, that will be there. Okay. Anything that you save to use offline, you'll see those there. These are your saves, so you can save that as your favorites by checking your little bookmark there. And then licensed content. This is your Disney, Marvel, Sanrio, your Sesame Street, Star Wars, and Warner Brothers. That's all going to be in there. So make sure that you're checking and helping your search out by using those. I usually use them when I can't find what I'm looking for just by searching for a word. Then that's when I usually revert to my filters. So I've got 2 images here, and like I said, if you're looking for a draw image, don't always rule out your cut images, because those can be changed to draw. You're simply going to come up to your operation type up here at the top, and you're going to select pen. And now you can choose the color of the pen that you want that to be. Let's say I was going to go with my gel pens and I wanted to do that in pink. And you can see how it bolded up there. That's what selecting your pens will do. It will show you how, let's see, let me go here. If I go with extra fine, how it's going to look in red. And you can see that my lines are not as harsh on there. So they've given you the tools to work with and get it as close to what you might see on your map when you do these. Okay. Yeah, that's a bit of difference there. I love that heart too. I really do. We're going to cut that one too. So make sure that you're checking those. This one has multiple. You can see that it's got a pen and a basic cut in it. So you can come in and you can change this part to a different color pen and draw the whole thing. So I want that to be, let's say I wanted that to be a brick color and I wanted the grass part around it to be a green color. I can go in there and do 2 colors. So you can play around with these. The more layers you have, the more colors you can select. Okay, so you can change those cut images. Don't forget that. Not all of your draw images can be changed to cut. Well, they can, but some of them may not cut like you're thinking they would cut. They're not going to fill in. Some of them aren't. Okay. Then you have over here in this toolbar, you have your text, and this is where you're going to type your text. And this is also where you're going to select which fonts you want to use. If you want to use all fonts, that is the default. All fonts include all Cricut fonts and all the fonts on your system. System fonts are just fonts on your system. That means these are fonts that are on my computer. These are not fonts that are on my phone. These are not fonts that are on my iPad. Fonts are device specific. So if you have a favorite font that you've uploaded on your computer and then you go to your phone and it's not there and it's defaulting back to a different type text, that is why you need to install that font on each device. Okay? And then you have your Cricut fonts. So you can come in and you can change it to any font that you want right up there. I'm not going to get into the rest of the font toolbar until next week. Okay? Next week, we probably won't make a project next week because there's a lot of stuff that goes along with your fonts. I just wanted to touch on it tonight because it was there for you. So make sure that you tune in next week if you love fonts like the rest of us love fonts. Okay? And I'm just going to get rid of that. Next, you have your shapes. These are all of your free basic shapes at the top. These are new. We just got these. If you are an Access subscriber, you have all of these. They are included with Access, and this includes your curved cut lines. So if you want that curved cut line that we've needed sometimes on cards to make our gift card holders and things, we now have that in there. If you do not have Access, I believe they're, 99 cents for you guys if you want to buy separate images. Once you buy it once, it's yours, you own it, and you won't be charged for it again. Just the first time, initial time that you buy it. Okay? I highly encourage, if you are new to Cricut, that you get an Access subscription until you learn, because it's going to make life a lot simpler and easier for you if you don't have to go outside Designspace to look for a bunch of stuff. You can do that, but it's not going to save you any time, and it can get very confusing, and not all designs are created equal. I'm just going to say that. Okay? So make sure that you have an Access subscription while you're learning. It will help you out a lot. That will be one less thing you have to concentrate on. I love the open-ended. I love them, Louise. And then we have upload. This again is going to be next week. This is where you're going to upload your images or upload your patterns, because that's all we're going to do next week. Is we're going to talk about uploads on images, uploads on patterns, and fonts and uploading fonts. That is next week's lesson. But it is in that toolbar, so I just wanted to touch on it and show you guys this is where all of that will be. I know, Kathy, it's so much easier because this is my favorite heart shape in Designspace. I think you guys saw it when I popped back over there to my saved. It was in there. Do you know if you can buy Access for someone else? Debbie, if you want to do that, I would do it on a prepaid Visa, something like that. And that way, you can load it for what the cost is and then pay for it by premium, or have it for monthly and load the card for monthly, however you want to do that. And then gift them that on their account, because it has to be on their account. I keep hoping that they will give us gift cards, but so far no luck on that. Yeah, Susan, we're going to go into that in depth. We're going to go into uploading patterns, fonts, and images next week, and we will be discussing images, good images versus bad images. So we're going to talk about all of those next week. And we will not be making any projects next week or anything, because those are so in depth that it takes time, and I know that people will have questions on those. And once we get all of that done, then we'll cover our toolbar up here. We may have time to do that one next week, cover the toolbar, because there's not that much left on it. We've covered just about everything else. And then week 4, we will cover the layers panel. And you guys will be ready to go. All right, so let's go ahead and let's cut this. I'm going to delete that layer. I don't need it. That was just for showing you guys. I'm going to hit make it because I've already sized that heart. And I am on my Maker 3, so you guys won't see. Let me cancel that and go to my, it won't let me, because I don't want to have to undo my tray and everything. Let me go back and change my machine to my Maker. This will be more in line for your Explore users. So when you hit make it, if you're on an Explorer and you're on custom, you're going to be picking your material. You're going to see it just like this. And guys, if I were doing 10 of these candle holders, this is where I would duplicate it. I would not duplicate it on my mat in the canvas. Not the mat. I would duplicate it on the mat and not in the canvas. That is the difference. This is your mat. This is your prepare your mat screen. And this is your workspace, your canvas. Okay? So if I needed 10 of these, I would not duplicate this 10 times. That will bog down DesignSpace, especially if you're connecting via Bluetooth. It can get bogged down. So you don't want to do that, especially if it's a lot of text. You'll want to make sure that you hit make it and then come over and change your copies here and apply. And once you do that, it will distribute them out and put them on your mat. Okay? And I'm just gonna cut 2. And that's just in case I mess up. Alright, so I've got that, and then I'm gonna hit continue. And whether or not you're on your Maker or your Explorer, if your Explorer is set on custom, then you're going to select your vinyl. And I'm going to select vinyl right there. And I'm going to use default pressure and all of that. Now let's go over to the overhead, and I'm going to show you guys how to put your stuff on your mat. Let's see. There we go. Let me move my stuff out of the way. And I've already cut my transfer tape down because it's on a big roll. But it is Cricut. It is new. I haven't used it before. It's not detacked. Nothing magical there. And I'm just using a blue mat. You can use blue or green. I generally use green, but I happen to have pulled out a blue mat. And I'm just going to lay that right down on that mat. This is a new mat. If you don't have a new mat, or I've got some little dust particles on the back of that vinyl, but I think it'll be okay. Make sure it's pressed down good. The best thing to do, guys, if you do not have this Cricut tool, I highly suggest it, whether you're using suede, faux leather, vinyl, cardstock, it doesn't matter. It will make a difference in how your vinyl cuts. A lot of people don't believe that until they try it. It makes a huge difference in how your vinyl cuts. So I'm just going to load this into my machine. And I'm going to press my go button. I am not going to go into fast mode or anything like that. I'm just going to cut normally. Now while that's doing that, Here's the little candle holder I told you that I had. And you're going to need some alcohol, okay? And it doesn't matter if it's 70 or 91, really doesn't matter. You're just going to dampen a paper towel, a baby wipe, whatever it is, cotton ball, preferably anything lint-free. And you're going to clean the glass off. Now you don't want to go and stick your vinyl on there immediately because that's wet unless you know how to do the wet method. Okay? And then you'll want to make sure that it's thoroughly dry. And you don't want to put your fingers on it. The oils in your fingers can hinder your vinyl sticking. Am I going to use that heart for tomorrow? I might, Jen. I might. You never know. Tomorrow we're Zooming and we are going to make a door hanger, a heart-shaped door hanger on our Zoom. I need something to keep that from rolling. So this is just foam on a PVC pipe, guys. Thank you again for this, Sue. I use it all the time. And that'll keep that from rolling around. Alright, so now we have our vinyl, and I'm just going to pull this off and I peel my mat from my vinyl, not my vinyl from my mat. It does matter. Okay. I am using the lay flat removable vinyl here. And I'm just going to, I have this major issue from moving, and I have all of my utility scissors. I mean, these things are not really sharp at all. I have to go buy new scissors because I cannot find the box all my scissors are in. And I'm just going to cut these in two. I'm only going to work with one. Okay. I forgot to get my weeding tool out. Yeah, the box with all of my Cricut tools and my scissors is MIA. So, just going to open up this new one. Guys, if you don't have this, these things are awesome. I'm just going to say the True Control knife in itself is awesome, but this weeding set, love. Because you can lock these in. I'm going to unlock it. And I'm going to go with this hooky guy here. The hook weeder. Lock that in and pull it out. But use your favorite Cricut weeding tool. I just lost part of my heart. All I did was brush it. I'm just going to hang on to that. And this might help too. If you do not have the Cricut bright pad, they can help a lot with weeding. I want to make sure that I don't stick my piece of my heart to my trash. That may be trash, but I don't know yet. It just came off in my hand. So we're going to take away everything that we don't want. I think that was trash. it helps me to look at my, I'm going to go back to my screen here so I can see. I have to look. I don't know if you guys do, even though I can see the lines there. Yeah, that was trash. Okay. That it helps me when I'm looking at the design. I want to make sure I don't get the wrong piece here. There we go. You're just going to pull those out. This is the Bright Pad Go. Love this tool. You thought you didn't need it, right, Louise? I didn't. I said the same thing, and then when I got it, I was like, man, I like this. Because I can change it out. Just have one tool on the desk. That little piece doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. So there's all my weeding. That was easy. But the pad does make it a lot easier, guys. If you have overhead lights and things like that, those can help too, but makes it so much easier. Now I'm going to just cut my transfer tape down to fit this. And then I'm just going to lift back a corner of it. I say I am. This is the hardest part for me on any of these, is getting that paper to start peeling for me. There we go. See, it works better from the back. I'm just going to peel back a corner of that paper, just like so. I am not detacking this. What I mean by detack is if you have something that is really, you don't need a lot of stick, you can tap it on your jeans. You can peel this paper backing off and tap it on your jeans, or you can tap it on a clean t-shirt and then use it. This is the Bright Pad Go, Jen. This is the Bright Pad Go from Cricut. And I'm just going to peel that back. So I just peeled my backing off. Okay. And I'm just going to flip it over. And I'm just going to take my scraper and just rub it gently. I'm not doing anything really hard on there. It doesn't need it. Okay. And that thing, you can tell that thing is well loved. This is when they first came out with it. That's one of the first. So to keep my candle holder from rolling, I've got it on my stand. I am going to flip this over and peel the paper from the transfer tape. Now you may have to coax it a little or go back and rub it again. And I find that I don't need to do that as much with the glossy permanent as I do the removable. The removable can get tricky because it's matte. There we go. So I've got it going. And I'm just going to kind of pinch it right there and get that going. So if your line is picking up like that, just kind of pinch it down. So it starts to stick. I'm just going to lay it flat and hold my transfer tape, and I'm just going to peel back against itself. And that's going to get those lines going. Okay. Now this is a curved surface, and I probably should have done this before I peeled my tape off, but that's okay. So I'm just going to take and put a couple of snips in my transfer tape to help me with my curved surface, okay? And then I'm just going to come up here where I want it on my candle holder, and I'm going to stick it in the middle and just work my way over. Because if you can get that transfer tape to give, it goes on this curved surface a lot better, okay, and smoother. And I'm not going to pull this straight up. I'm going to peel it back against itself. That is the trick, to pull it back against itself. And I cut mine so it's going to split, but that's okay. If you're one of those that you have to reuse it several times, you may not want to cut yours. But again, you're going to fold it back against itself instead of pulling straight up on it. When you pull straight up on it, you're just going to pull your design back up. But super easy to transfer using the Cricut transfer tape. And how cute is that? Get a candle in there. We'll use paper for now. But how stinking cute is that? And it's on there. It's not going anywhere, because we cleaned it with our alcohol. You don't want to wash this for 24 hours or so. Give that adhesive time to set. Now, like I said, I did use removable on here. So, but removable is just it's not as tacky as your permanent. Your permanent can still be removed from glass without damage. But when it comes to things like walls, you want to use removable. Okay? Yes, I highly suggest these tools, guys. You will be amazed at how much easier it makes it. Hey, from Illinois. Yeah, Kathy, using that brayer to put everything on your mat it cuts better, it removes better, in my opinion. It's just much easier to work with any material when you've done that. Does anybody have any questions about cutting your vinyl, weeding vinyl, transferring your vinyl? Any questions about DesignSpace, how to use your templates, how to search for projects, images, changing your text? I know we didn't do upload tonight, but we will be getting into that with our fonts tomorrow. Yeah, Carla, I love the Bright Pad. I love this Bright Pad Go. Love, love, love. It stays on my Maker 3 in that slot at the top. In case you guys didn't know it, if you have new machines, the slot in the top is for your iPad, your Bright Pads, your phones, whatever that tray is there. Don't forget, on the right hand side of all of your makers, you have a charging port so that you can keep your phone or your iPad plugged into the USB port over there to charge it while you're working. And your tray, of course, opens up, and that's the best place to stash your candy. Right, Sue? The chocolate drawer. Yes, Susan, I use mine all the time. So, how do you weld an image to make an open and closed card? Diamond, let's go over to DesignSpace. I think I know what you're asking me, but you really don't need to weld. So let me pop over there. All right, so if you wanted to make, let's say a 5x7 card diamond, it can come in the mystery. I think it did come in a mystery box the couple of mystery boxes ago, Jen. So we have, what you're going to do here, Diamond, is you're going to come in and get a shape, and you're going to get a square. You're going to need a bigger drawer, Louise. All right, for a 5x7 card, we can come in here and we're going to unlock this. We can unlock it up here at your sizing on the toolbar, or you can unlock it by your handles here. Either way. And so you want a 5x7 card, but when you want it to be folded, it's not going to be a 5x7 if you cut it at this size. Okay? So in order to make this a 5x7, when it's folded, you're going to have to change your width to 10 inches because we can only cut up to 11.5 inches wide. So you can't double the height on it and make it 14. It won't work. But you can do it this way, make it a 10x7. And I'm going to change that to a light gray so you can see here. And then you're going to go into your shapes and you're going to get the line, which is a score line. And then you're going to make it 7 inches high. And you're going to select both of those. And I'm just dragging a box around the two. We're going to line them to the center and attach. Now when I fold that in half, it is a 5x7 card with no welding needed. Is that what you were asking me? I want to make sure that I understood you right. To make an open and closed card. Because this is the way you're going to cut it, then you're going to fold it on that score. And if you need to rotate it, then you can rotate it 90 degrees and have it fold that way. Can you give me a little bit more information, Diamond, and I can show you anything that you need me to show. Trying to figure out, because most of it, it's probably going to be more slicing than it is going to be welding. Like this heart, for instance, I can duplicate it. Let me duplicate a couple. That way I have one to work with. Now, if I wanted to do the two of these together, I could do this and then weld it. And now it is one image. Okay? You can see here that now it's one image. Okay? But if I wanted it to cut out of the front so that I could put something behind it or just have it show through, then I would have to slice it. And to slice, I need to detach my score line, select the heart and that, so I've only got two things selected, and then I could slice it. And then have it that way. Duplicate your image and mirror it back to back. Oh, I got you. Okay. I got you. I understand. Like a shape. Is that what you... Okay, I understand it now. Okay, let's go in. Let's go to images. Let's do... Let me get the elephant. Let's bring the cute little elephant out. Where is he? kind of like him. Let's do him. That's not the one I was looking for, but he'll do. So let's say you want to do this elephant card and you wanted it to, oh, he's in pieces. Can't do that one. Right. That turtle is so cute right there. Somebody has their hot rod outside. It doesn't want, there we go. You know, I could have made a shadow layer on that other one. I didn't think about that. An offset. Let's do this one right here. All right. So let's say that you had the elephant and you wanted to make a card out of that. I am going to, since this one has basic shapes, I am going to duplicate it. And I'm going to hide one because we don't need both of them. And I'm going to size it up. I'm going to get my score line out of the way. And let's just say we wanted to make this 5 inches wide. So first thing you want to do is size it up. And this is going to be like a 5 by 4.5. I'll go a little bit bigger. There we go. And then we're going to ungroup it. And I'm just going to pull this off to the side because we basically don't need those right there. We want this base shape. So what I'm going to do is duplicate it. Okay. And we are going to flip it vertical. Okay. And you can see that I only have like one point that really touches on this. So these can be tricky. If they've got a bigger top across them, they're easier to do, but it's not to say that you can't do it here because you can. What I would do when they only touch in one spot like this, first you're going to align them and you're going to center it horizontally. That is very important. You need to make sure that they are touching well right here. You need a good space for it to touch in right there. Okay? And then you're going to line center horizontally. And you're going to weld it. Okay? And now you can see that there is no line. I'm going to pull in here. That there's no line going through there. So that tells me that they are connected. Okay? So now when I fold this in half right here, these two will meet up. Okay? Yeah, you can rotate it. And get it in there just a little bit better. And that's what I would usually do, Louise. Or you can put in another shape. Because sometimes when you rotate, you need to actually rotate before you duplicate on one like this. So I would want to rotate him that way. Duplicate it. Then flip it vertical. And you can see that I'm getting there and getting them to touch by that rotation. But they have to be rotated equally. So I'm going to rotate it just a tiny bit more. And it doesn't matter that it's rotated here because you can straighten it up once you fold it. It just makes it more difficult on shapes like this. Flip it vertical. And that would give me 2 touching points right there. Okay. So where those are touching, align, center it horizontally, and weld it. And that's going to give me a good connection right there. Okay. And then you can kind of straighten it up afterwards. And then once you fold it in half, you're going to put this onto the front. And of course, we're going to have to rotate that to make it line up. You can see where we're going. So that will give you the card. This is the area that you would want to write on, and this is the area where your elephant would be glued to the front of this piece. And you would still want to run your score line down the center. Yeah, like Mickey ears, those are really easy because they'll touch in two places. So let's say we had this one. I'm going to duplicate. Mickey ears are pretty easy. Oh, I don't know how I got 3. There we go. So I'm going to align top, and I'm going to weld those. So these two are welded together, and then I'm just going to bring this in, and we are going to align center horizontally, and then we're going to weld that. So that gives us our Mickey ears, and then you can duplicate it, flip it vertically, you can align, center them horizontally, weld, and then you will get your score line. Let me go back down here. And let's see, this is 575 wide, but we don't really need that score that wide. We can just bring that score in here. You can do just a little short score line there, but usually I don't fool with it. I just make one score line there and attach, and then it's good to go. And then you can put your decorative pieces on there. Do the score line on that elephant. Let me back up. Get him back. There we go. Bring that score, arrange, send it to the front. And then you're just going to bring that score line in. Let me just shorten it down. Right here. You put your score line there. And, oops, I missed it. There we go. And attach. So now you have the score in there, and that's where it's gonna fold, and then this will glue to the front. Does that make sense, Diamond? You're just gonna have it's super simple to do, but it's going to depend a lot on your image. Mine too, Louise. It's going to depend on your image. If your image is symmetrical, it's super easy. If it's not, you're going to have to play with it. And like I said at the beginning, test cut, test cut, test cut. Chipboard cannot be scored. And yes, you can do, Diamond, I have done boxes with chipboard, and I show you how to make them. Here's the playlist for that. But I've done several different chipboard projects where I make boxes, keepsake boxes. We made one in a Zoom. So everybody really liked that one. We did a trunk. I've done an insert box where it has a lid. I've done one with a acrylic top on it. I've done like a cigar box. There are several in there. On chipboard, you can score on craftboard, but chipboard, if it's not going to fold. You can't fold chipboard, it'll break. It'll crack. That's 2 millimeter thick. Now the cereal box is a form of chipboard. Now you can score that and fold it. Cereal box type, yes. So it's going to depend on your chip. I was thinking you meant the Cricut chipboard, the 2 millimeter and the 1.5. You can't score and fold it. It won't give. The craft board will, but the chipboard will not. Okay? That's why we do hinges for our boxes with chipboard. You were thinking of the craft board, so I knew you were. Cereal box type, yes, you can score that. I would use the double scoring wheel like Sue said. If that's the kind you're talking about, then yes, you can score that, but I would use the double scoring wheel. Chipboard is the thick, heavy, rigid, and it won't bend. All right, guys. If you have any questions that you forgot to ask, you can come and ask them in the group. We're happy to help you. Or you can write it down and save it for next week's tutorial, and we will cover it. Anytime you have any question, it doesn't matter what our topic is for the night, we will be happy to answer your questions or help you with your projects. So make sure that you're asking those questions. If you think you can't remember it from Monday till Thursday, write it down and make sure that you get that question asked so that we can show you here on screen and make sure that you're getting all the help that you need. All right. I greatly appreciate everybody. Thank you to my moderators. I could not do this without you, and my admins. You guys are awesome. Thank you to all my Patreons, Ko-fi, and YouTube supporters. I hope you guys are enjoying the files. Got another file coming this week, and I will catch you guys on the next one.